did you hear?
Yeah, girl, what?
Hey, girl, did you hear?
No, what?
Why did that girl at Dutch Bros freak out on us today for tipping her 25% on like a $12 order?
Man, I don't know. The tipping culture today is gotten out of hand.
It is insane. Hey, guys, welcome to Hey, Girl, Did You Hear? I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jessica.
We're going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff today. First thing, though, is tipping. Like, the tipping culture is insane right now, and we experienced this today. Like,
just today.
Literally a couple hours ago. What happened? We were in Dutch Bros line getting some drinks.
So we just placed our order for what, 2 beverages?
Yeah.
I can't remember the total.
It was like 13 something.
Yeah. Standard 2 beverage order at
Right.
any drive-through caffeination
Ridiculous
station.
inflation.
Right? It is what it is. I'll pay for it.
Yes.
But she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. When I hit the 20, like the biggest tip option on the little screen. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah, she was like very ecstatic about it.
I almost
and
felt
we both
bad.
were like,
why?
Why?
Why is it like this?
I don't know. Is it really that bad out there?
Well, I've seen a lot on my socials about how tipping has gotten to be kind of a sensitive spot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's popped up on a lot of things that it hasn't been there usually. Like you're starting to see people turn the screen for tips on services that you didn't used to tip for.
Right.
And so now we're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Why? But at the same time, like, why are there options now to tip for things that weren't tippable before? Like, why are we being suggested and pushed to tip on everything? Do you think? Like, do you feel like that? Do you feel like everywhere you go, you get pushed to tip for something?
I do. I feel like I either get pushed to tip or donate.
Right?
Realistically.
Yes,
so
me
it's,
too.
It's every single time I'm at some sort of kiosk somewhere with someone standing in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, so how much? Just sign here. And
right.
Just
do you want to round up your change to donate to wherever?
Dude. I've seen on social media how people are now saying that if you have to stand to order, so at places like Qdoba, Chipotle, Noodles and Company, places where you walk in and there's a person in front of you.
Right.
You're standing there, they're standing there. If you have to stand to order, you shouldn't have to tip. But they still offer. Do you want to tip those people?
They do.
So like my question is like, where do you draw the line? Like what is a tippable service for you versus what is a non-tippable service?
Right. For me, I think I am always a good tipper. I feel like I tip 20% or more, mostly more all the time.
I try,
especially if I'm at a restaurant and I can see that the server's having a hard time or they're really busy or that server's getting hassled by other.
Oh yeah, they're just in the weeds.
Another table. Yeah, and I can just see like they're still grinding through and putting on the happy face, you know.
Remember
and they're
those
doing their
days.
job really, really well. Like I respect that and I appreciate that. So I want to reward them for that. More so.
Right.
If I get basic service, you're gonna get a basic tip.
Right.
In my opinion. But restaurants definitely tip. Obviously, like nail salons, hair salons, tattoo artists, stuff like that, always tip. Photographers, wedding vendors, that's a controversial thing in my industry for like wedding photography and stuff, or vendors in general.
Right.
Like it's huge. Tip, like some brides will not tip vendors. Some do. Some think that it's a requirement. Vendors don't really think that it's a requirement. I mean, it's personal preference. Like if I got a tip from a wedding client, it was like a bonus for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect that because they've already paid me what they're paying me for their services. I don't expect a tip from a wedding client or really from any photography client. That's just me. But if I get that, that's a bonus to me. I'm like, oh, cool. That's really cool of them. You know, I don't think that tipping is necessarily required at the drive-thru of Dutch Bros or Starbucks or any other drive-thru facility. To me, I don't think tipping them is really essential or is necessary.
I do.
You do?
I do. Well, because there's still people out there in the elements. Like the girl came out to our car to like with her little pad and her card reader to take our order. And then there's just a herd of them inside.
You're so much nicer than I am.
slinging soda and syrup to like make our delicious beverage. Like I
Right.
see that it's as an act of service, right?
Yeah.
Like I come to you because I want the thing and you have to make the thing.
Correct.
So I think, because I know you're probably just getting a normal hourly wage, and this tipping culture or getting tipped is a part of, like, say, your bonus or increases your paycheck. And if I can help you do that, great. So what about stuff like drivers?
Like a
your
Uber driver?
Uber driver, taxi driver, the dude who drives you to the airport, the dude who delivers your
Trevor-
package from like.
Trevor handles the Uber drivers.
Does he tip them?
He does tip them when we take Ubers, like to and from the airport. If we need to, he'll tip them. Yeah, for sure. He always feels bad when we take the shuttle bus from Denver to from the Denver airport to the rental car place because we never have cash. And he always feels bad because the drivers of the shuttle always help you with your luggage in and out.
Yeah.
And he never has cash to pay them, but they have Venmo.
So you take a picture of the QR code on the way out?
Yeah, so Trevor could give him a $5 tip or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, tipping in random things like that, like if I place a to-go order and I go to the restaurant and pick up the to-go order and
Are
they
you
ask,
tipping there?
no, I do
Why?
not, because I ordered it. Yes, they still made it. However, no one
But
served.
nobody served
No
you.
one served me.
Right.
The chef's not getting a tip. He's not getting tipped from me for making my food. The server is getting tipped for serving me the food.
Right. Or who's ever running the to-go
Exactly,
window.
yeah.
Right. That's fair.
I don't tip those people. And I'm sorry if people disagree with that, but that's just me. I don't. I usually will not tip if I go into a Starbucks or a Dunkin', or if I go inside any fasty type food restaurant like that and they ask for a tip and I'm the one in there. I walked in on my own to get my order and they're asking for a tip.
Right.
And all they're doing is handing me my food or across the counter. No, I'm not tipping for that.
That's fair. I mean, because you're doing most of the work in that situation, realistically.
Why do I need to do that for them?
That
I'm
makes sense.
curious though. I wonder if Dutch Bros, those places, right? When we tip them, does it go to that person?
Oh, yeah.
Or does it go into a big pool and then they split it up between all the employees? I would be interested to know how it works. How does the tipping get split up? Did our tip today for that girl go straight to her, or did it go to a big a pool?
I'm sure probably for a place like Dutch Bros or Starbucks, or where it is just kind of a group of people working in one location, that our tip doesn't go to that one person. Our tip goes to everybody.
Right.
So, I mean, and honestly, that's kind of what I hope for in that situation.
That
at
it kind of gets
least.
dispersed through
Right.
everyone. Yeah.
But I have heard, and you mentioned this earlier, I have heard to where in server situations in restaurants, to where if one person is serving me, I want my tip to go to that person.
Yes.
And I've heard otherwise, to where if I pay with my tip and not in cash with another form of payment, that tip gets dispersed amongst everybody instead of going to that one person.
I saw that too floating around social media, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. I've had a few people post on their own accord who work in the restaurant industry, and they said that is not the case at their place of employment. Any tips that they do get, whether it's from cash or on a credit card, they do get that money themselves. It is not dispersed through everyone. I was also seeing in that meme something about that it not only it does, so a lot of servers rely on that instant cash, right? That every day, little bit of cash, whatever they make, $100, $200, whatever. And that's great if you could do that. And they were saying that they don't get those payouts in cash payments on credit cards. If you tip in credit card, they were saying that they just lump it into their paycheck, which then sucks because then that gets taxed.
Well, yeah. I see what you're saying.
And then you kind of you lose that instant cash ability, I guess.
Right, that untaxability, right? That
I don't know.
I prefer cash. I
Me
mean, because
too.
I know I go to nail salons really mainly for pedicures and things along that nature, and they really push you to either pay for in cash or at least tip in cash.
Yeah.
Because of, I'm sure,
Tax reasons.
we know on the back end when you're using like a little credit card machine, there's a fee.
There is.
So I'm sure if you're using like a little credit card machine, there's a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the proprietor of that business, you're probably tacking a little bit of that fee onto the tip as well.
Yeah.
So they may not be getting the full 5 or 10 or whatever percent they want from you. You know, they may just be getting a portion of it because you paid for it with a card, and that card comes with a fee
Right.
to the business owner.
Yep.
So
And it's like 3%, 3 point something percent, 2.5, something like that. It depends.
I
Sometimes
mean,
it can be
gets
higher
to be
than
a
that.
lot of money after a while.
It does.
Right?
Mhm.
So I wonder why some businesses, like you said in your photography business, why some businesses don't automatically just kind of incorporate that. Like when we did our tattoo together,
Right.
I was always curious if the tip was a part of the cost, like if they're already kind of accounting for that in the cost of the tattoo when they give you
Right.
the grand total, or are they expecting that in the back end and then they're giving you a lesser
Like the
price?
base.
Like I would rather have you just add everything up for me and me not tip you in the end. I would
Right.
rather have
You'd
you
rather
charge
have
me
the tip
more.
already included.
Right. And just have that already off my subconscious because I'm really bad at math. I can't do numbers in my brain, man. I am every
That's so
color of
funny.
dyslexic
That is
you
so
can
funny.
be. Like I my numbers and my letters are all backwards and upside down and in the wrong place, but that's fine. My world is creative. But
My world is creative.
so I can't do the math in my head. So there's like anytime I get up there to sign that little receipt, I'm like, So I'm one of those ones that just busts out the calculator and is like, what's umpteen% of
I
such
know.
and such?
I laugh because I'm the same way.
Right? At least
Like,
I know I'm doing a good job, right?
I can't, like, obviously I can do math with a calculator, but I'm not a math in my head type of person.
My
Even
husband
if
is,
it's
and it's
easy
magical.
math, I can figure shit out, you know?
Mhm.
But if it's like, if the bill is like 2032 or 2732 and I want to tip them, or let me give a bigger number. If it's $272.27, right? And I'm going to tip them $45.
You've lost me. You've
Yeah.
given me too many numbers.
Exactly.
Like, get fucked. I don't know what
Yeah.
percent that is. I don't know how to add that into a total. I can't do that total off the top
No.
of my head. You'll see my chicken scratch in the receipt where you're like, carry the one.
Yeah, I'm like counting on my fingers.
Like,
Like, yep. I do that shit all the time. I'm not embarrassed to admit that.
And I mean, and I'm not either. At this point in time, it's like the reason why we have these things is to make life a little more convenient. And Lord
Yes.
howdy does it. It's
Too much.
there's that pressure again, because like with the cost of living and everything else that's going on in life is everything costs so much. So
It
I've
is
also noticed
so much.
that not only have the tips gone from 10, 15, 20% to where now they're like starting at 20%.
Yeah,
And
there's
going
not
to
even
like
an option.
25, 30.
Mhm.
You're like, holy cow, how much? Can you just include that in the price of your service, please?
I do like the places where they do show the tip and it already shows like the total of like what it already adds it up for you. So they're like
Right, right.
18% is this amount, 20%
Sometimes
is
they
this
get
amount.
sneaky and they like do that like pre or post tax. I can't remember which one's the sneaky one, but I've seen that happen.
Probably post tax.
I've been told it's happening.
I've been told. Of course it is. They're always trying to get us for something. No, but I mean, with inflation being so crazy, yeah, I mean, you have to understand that these people are out there working just as hard as
Mhm.
like everybody else is, just
Mhm.
trying to make it, just trying to pay their damn bills, and it's hard. It's really, really hard. Like I said, I always try to tip really well, but some like enough is enough. Like stop shoving it down my throat at the same time. In my opinion.
And that's hard though, because I think it's just going to be a shift we're just gonna have to deal with, because I think this is going to be the norm.
Well, then they should just include whatever they want to tip people on an average daily rate
Mhm.
into whatever their pricing is going to be. So there's a non-negotiable. So there's not like that. There's not that conversation.
I see what you're saying.
There's
So there's not that social pressure.
Right.
What about stuff?
Or how about businesses pay their freaking employees a normal hourly wage to account for the inflation?
Well, okay. So here's the thing: if the employees are struggling, I imagine the business owners are also probably struggling.
Yes,
on
obviously.
their own level, in their own right. You know, maybe they are being a little bit more greedy, but everybody has green in their eyes. You know what I'm
True.
saying? But so I imagine if the employees aren't getting paid enough, the business owner is also not making enough to where it's just like the trickle down, like to whatever supplies they have to buy cost more. And, you know, the employees are like, you know what, stuff you, I can get more money from someone else. And so now the employees are costing more. And so everything goes from, hey, that little Dutch Bros order that we had would have cost what, $6 5 years ago is now double that.
Yeah.
And now they're like, please, I want more money. Give me an extra $3.
Right.
And I will act ecstatic because you participated in the game. But tipping is so weird because it comes up in also sneaky places like hotel rooms. Like for the longest time, I did not tip my housemaid service, the turn down service or whatever. And I was kind of entitled by it too. I was like, what? Aren't they getting paid? Aren't they doing the thing? Like,
Right.
aren't they making a livable wage? Well, no, they're not.
They're not. And I'm sure they've got to clean up some nasty ass
stuff.
rooms.
And I mean, and I do my best to leave it kind of like as I found it, kind of, you know, treat it like the woods, leave no trace.
Right? Nobody was here.
I did not sleep.
Nope.
I did not wash my makeup off here. You cannot tell.
Nothing happened.
So now I feel more inclined to do that for them.
Yeah.
I mean, also now having a housekeeper myself, I'm like, oh, please, here is extra money on top of what I'm already paying your business.
Right.
To go through my house and clean it, because I feel bad sometimes because I look around and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to do it.
You're like, nope, I ain't doing that.
Here's a cool $50 to like keep my secrets.
That's so funny. I do not have a house cleaner for my house. You do though.
Yeah. It was a sacrifice.
Do you tip them?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Including you tip them in addition to like what you pay them weekly or whatever, however many times they come.
Mm-hmm. It was hard to figure out like how much do you tip because every industry is different, right? Like you tip the nail salon ladies like 25%. You tip your waiters and waitresses what, 25 to 30%? I don't know. Whatever's great. Just inform me what you want.
Let us know what the numbers
I will do my best.
Be.
Like, because you are here for me, I am here for you. We all showed up at the same time to do the thing. So it's like, it makes me wonder, like, how much do you tip your housekeeper? How much do you tip your stylist? How much do you tip your tattoo artist? Like, it's all different.
It is.
Like,
I try to stick with like a baseline for the most part of like 25% or more, depending on the service.
Yeah.
Or depending on like, maybe I'm feeling generous that day or whatever.
You made a connection with the person or
like I've definitely tipped way more than necessary in certain situations just because I felt, you know, in those moments, like maybe that person needed it for whatever reason.
My husband's a real generous tipper for that kind of
so is Trevor.
Baseline, excuse me. Like if you can see, like if we show up at like the end of the day and we see that, we know we're those guys,
right?
Those guys get a little bit more money from us.
Yes.
You know, it's weird because I feel like it should be my idea to give you this money. It shouldn't be
like
you telling
me
me to give you this money.
Right.
That's the hard part.
And
because I don't like doing what I'm told. And giving you money is also something I don't like doing.
No, especially with inflation.
Right.
Everybody's watching their budget, their finances, what they're spending money on, all of that. Something else I thought of though, I would hate to be the employee that has to ask the tip question every single transaction.
Oh yeah.
Because they'll try to do it like all nonchalant. There's like, there's just a question there for you to answer first before, like
just real quick.
It's just going to ask you one thing first there before it gives you, before you can pay. Like they don't want to say, but then like, what do you do?
Do you feel pressured to like hit the button instead of the no tip, the long ass no tip?
Honestly, it just depends on my mood in that moment.
Right. That's fair.
Like sometimes I will tip, the whatever baseline $1.50 for a Starbucks drink that I walked in and got myself.
Right. That's fair. Right. Because you're feeling generous, right? You're like, I've got some extra, I can hand it out.
Yeah. Like you just get like in those moods sometimes and you're like, oh, sure. Why not? Do you want to donate your 69 cents to Children's Foundation for whatever? Yeah, sure.
The grocery store one is the one that gets me. It's like, here, do you want to round up? I'm like, bro, I am barely affording these 4 bags of meager ingredients that I'm buying to make my food for the next month.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about grocery costs, dude. Like, it is insane.
Yeah, it's not good.
It is not good at all. Trevor and I, okay, first of all, before we moved to Florida, or we're, splitting time and so forth, we lived in Denver and we, bought groceries for our whole house. There's anywhere from 3 to 5 people here at all the times. And we would spend, this is, 2 years ago, anywhere from like 200 to like 350, like every other week.
Right.
Minus like the whatever, like milk or like things like that go bad quicker.
The fresh stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, for just Trevor and I in Florida, we will literally pay anywhere from like $4.50 to like $5.50 in groceries. And that's like a week and a half worth of food. Like that's me like planning out cooking dinner every single night for 7 days.
Right.
And that's like $500 plus.
Making
I've
last.
literally spent $700 before on a week and a half's worth of groceries and like snacks, and that's insane to me.
I wonder if you go more inland. If you were to
If we
drive
weren't on an island,
6 hours to go to the grocery store that's a little less landlocked or a little less locked out by the ocean.
Even when we were in like northern, okay, well, part of it is any grocery store is like 30 minutes away from us.
That's
or
fair.
more.
Right.
Anywhere we've stayed for the most part in Florida. When we were in Fort Lauderdale and we were not in the RVs, we were central in Fort Lauderdale. We had a house there.
Mhm.
We still did not go to the grocery store because it was just too public-y. Like the grocery store out there.
Isn't the name Publix?
It is Publix. It is very public-y. It's bad, dude. Like the grocery stores out there are so horrible, and it's just not something that I want to deal with. So we unfortunately got sucked into Instacart, and we order Instacart all the time.
So is that why your groceries are $500 a pop?
It's part of it. However, I have done so much comparison of like in-store prices and the Instacart prices, and it's very similar. Obviously, we pay a tip, and these people, especially when we were in like way the hell up North Florida in this little tiny town, the grocery store was at least 40 minutes away.
Jesus.
And there's no way that I'm driving 40 minutes, shopping for an hour, and driving 40 minutes back. That's like half of my day. No, not doing that. I don't want to deal with it.
Gonna make the adventure into town.
I know. Like I cannot hop on board with that lifestyle. Like I am not the one that's going to be doing that. Someone else. I will pay the extra
Someone
money
to bring it to you.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. For the convenience. I will pay for that convenience.
Right.
100%.
So you tip that guy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I usually tip them like 30 plus
Right,
percent.
because it takes a fucking hot minute to get to you.
Yeah, it takes a minute to get to us. B, they have to try to find us in the damn RV park, which no matter the directions I give,
it doesn't matter.
No. A, they're shopping for all my crap and messaging me throughout the entire time for replacements and stuff like that. So they are doing a really good job.
Man, they're working.
And a lot of them are really good, actually.
Really?
Yeah, like occasionally you get a shopper and you're like, that guy sucked. Like he was not a good shopper. He didn't listen to like any of the replacements or didn't message.
He just did not care.
He just
wanted to like get the thing done. Yeah.
And like even if I try to like message them like, hey, I don't want that replacement. Give me something else. Like, can you get this instead? Like I would get no replies sometimes, and I would just whatever. Like he would still get tipped, but I wouldn't give them an additional. But I've even given them like additional tips.
Right.
Even after, like if they've gone like above and beyond. I've even had people go from like if they didn't have certain things at one grocery store, like sometimes they would be out of a lot of crap because, small town, everybody buys everything
so
super
hard.
fast.
Yeah.
They would go to another store. They're like, do you want me to go to another store and see if they, and I'm like, oh my God, if you would, that would be amazing.
Please.
Yeah. And I would tip them extra for doing, above and beyond stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that deserves extra tipping.
Oh, absolutely. Like that behavior is.
Usually though, like with the tip and the fees, it's average, I would say an additional like $60 to $70 that we spend in fees and tipping through Instacart.
That's fair.
So it's
you're paying
not that
for the
much.
convenience, right?
I would be spending that much driving 30, 40 minutes to the damn store in
your
gas
own car.
in my own car.
Right. Well, yeah. That's fair.
I mean, not really, but you're not
I get
going
what
to use
you're
a full
saying.
tank of gas to go to the
It's-
grocery store, but you know what I mean.
Not only is it like a financial commitment, it's a time commitment, which can be just as expensive as real money. You know what I'm saying?
My time is very valuable sometimes, especially when we're filming and we're on like a schedule,
Right.
and there's
You only
just-
have like an hour in
yeah,
between stuff.
or I only have, you know, a certain amount of time to get things done
Right.
outside of show stuff. I can do those things while my freaking Instacart guy is doing my
just
shopping.
doing your thing.
Yes.
Right. That's nice.
It's pretty amazing.
I think that's
Um,
why our parents had kids, right? So that they had someone to
Yeah.
do the thing while they were doing the other thing.
Yes. I don't have any kids with me in Florida.
No,
though.
ma'am.
None of my children are out there, fortunately. I don't know, man. Tipping's craziness.
It is.
I'll continue to just do and adapt to however it goes.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, it is what it is. If someone gives me shitty service, I'm going to give them the base tip, though.
That
I
is
will
fair.
never not tip someone. I will never not tip someone.
I can't say I wouldn't because I am a spiteful
trying
bitch
to- I'm like-
sometimes, and
I'm like,
you
sorry
know,
for the
I will
pause.
do just exactly that. I will spite you by not tipping if stuff gets spicy enough to where I feel I'm justified.
That's funny.
It's I think it's fair. I don't know. I can't come up with the situation off the top of my head, but I'll tell you what.
If it happens, we'll
if
hear
it
about
happens,
it.
I'm gonna make that happen. It's like getting a 0 on your test. You
Right.
failed.
No, I did it. I tried my best.
Remember getting tipped as a service advisor?
Yeah.
Like customers would put like a cool little $5 in your hand for you going out and like running their check engine light or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
Or like topping off their washer fluid or checking their tire pressure and crap for them, you know? I always thought it was weird. It was super awkward for me when people would try to tip at Subaru. I was like,
Right. You're like, I'll take it.
sure.
It's like it's the no 3 times theory, right?
Right.
You're like, no, thank you.
Like, no, it's okay.
I don't need it. No, really. I can't take this.
Right.
Okay, fine.
All right. I'll get some coffee later. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. The gesture is beautiful. I love it.
I would much prefer them to bring me the coffee.
Really?
They wanted to tip.
Right, because your time is money. You're like,
No,
I don't
'cause-
want to have to go get it.
Right? No, but
Yeah.
sometimes we would have customers bring us gifts if they were like really happy with their
Yeah.
service or us. Like it was really cool.
It was such a great.
They would order us like cookies and milk. Remember from that place in Boulder? Bomb, dude.
That was real.
Speaking of Boulder, okay, so today we went to the Crystal store.
Man,
We love that place.
takes me back.
When Jessica and I worked at Subaru together, we would go on lunch break adventures all the time. We would coordinate with the other advisors in our department so that we could take lunch at the same time,
Right.
so that we could hang out, obviously,
Absolutely.
and go do our adventures. And nobody cared.
No.
They were like, yeah, whatever.
Well, fortunately, there was like enough advisors to where you kind of
Yeah,
had to
there was
send 2 at a time.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
always 2 going at a time, so we always chose to go at the same time.
Whoops.
Oopsies. Anyways, one day we went to, I don't even remember the name of that store,
Either.
but we wanted to buy some sage.
Naturally sourced.
Naturally sourced. Yes, we did not want to like go online and just buy sage.
No,
like,
I'm sorry. Responsibly sourced.
responsibly.
Because we wanted to know that it came from a sage loving, caring.
Like from someone that was creating the sage like with good intentions, right?
I can't
like,
remember what the stigma is with it. I think it's like it has to come from the Native American cultures.
right.
Like
Like
it has to be a part of their, like they have to bring it to us.
Yes. Like it has to like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it.
I feel
All
really,
the spiritual, you know, woo woo people out there, as my husband likes to call me, woo woo. They'll know what we're talking about.
Right.
Anyway, so we went to this store because we're like, we have to go. We both were just like feeling weird about things. This was years ago.
We were
This
trying to
was-
smudge some demons.
Yeah.
I can't quite
This
remember.
was years ago. It was so funny. We're in this store and we, you know, we're looking around, whatever. We buy our sage.
Mm.
And as we're walking out of the store, we're like chit chatting.
Because
like,
we like strike up a little conversation with the lady at the counter.
Yeah.
As we're just like talking about the stuff.
Checking
like,
out,
It was
mhm.
such a beautiful little store because there's like crystals and all of the other appropriate things that you would find in a store like that. I can't like healing gems and chakra stones and just
Incense
everything
and
is
everything.
Yes. I mean, it smelled great. The vibes were on point. Like everything
It was great.
amazing. And we
I wish
like,
I remembered the name of this
I can't
store.
either. And because it was like, no, it was off the beaten path. Like you had to go on a journey to get to it. Like
We were like, where?
you had to cross like train tracks, and there was like
Go over the mountain, through the tunnel.
through the woods. Like it was a great little store. I remember like stepping into it and going like, I just could not stop smiling. Going,
I
oh my
know.
gosh, like where are we?
Where are we? You're like, what? Wasn't it like one of your first or like newish times being in a store like that? Or you had been in them before?
I can't remember how we found that place, but yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of my first times being in
That type of
yeah,
like spiritual,
Yeah.
like metaphysical store like that.
Yeah,
I love them. My mom and I used to go to them all the time.
really.
Mhm.
So you're like a metaphysical store veteran.
I
Like,
enjoy
you know
them.
how to like sluice them out and
Yeah.
find them. Jeez. But
Yeah.
like, what do they? Okay, so since you've been into
Wait,
these
hang
stores,
on. Wait, we gotta finish the story.
oh, I'm curious.
Okay. So we're leaving the store. We talked to the lady.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I drove us right
Yeah,
off
it's
that
okay.
track.
we're coming back around. The lady, we're walking out. We transaction out. We're walking out. You and I are talking a little bit, and she yells out,
Enjoy your titties.
and we walked. We didn't say anything. We're like, "Thank you." Did we even say anything?
Yeah,
I think
yes,
we were
I
like,
think
"Thank
we're
you."
like, thank you.
We're like, "Thanks." And then, because I think we were like, and at the time, her and I didn't realize right away that we both heard the same thing, like "enjoy your titties." And when we got out of the store, I was like, "Did you hear her say enjoy your titties?" And then we just lost it, dude.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
so freaking funny. It was
What a
so
vibe, though.
funny.
It was so great because like that was just kind of the vibe we got from the
Yes.
girl. She was very like
Earthy,
yeah,
very earthy,
just like a part of everything and just
Yes.
kind of I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It was beautiful.
It was
really.
beautiful.
And I reflect back on that moment now in time and I'm like, what else could she have said?
What did she actually
'Cause
say? I want to go back to that store. We should go back sometime.
we should. Well, I mean, at least drive by, see if it's there. Okay, at least Google it, see if it's there.
Figure out where the
Right?
hell we even went.
Right. And I mean, man, I lost my train of thought. There we go. But it's just such a it was such a cute store.
It was a really cute store. Yeah, we were talking about how like what could she have said? Enjoy your titties.
Yeah. Like you
that
put
doesn't
enjoy
sound-
your titties in like a sentence. Like I understand each word individually. Like grammar works, right? That's the English language. But like
it doesn't sound like have a nice day or
like
it doesn't sound like anything else.
because we
As you could say, is like a departing send off.
so like I was trying to think of what we bought and we bought sage, right?
Yeah,
so
we
is
did.
there something like yitties or bitties or schmitties or bitty? I don't know. Like
I have no idea. I'm just gonna say that she just wanted us to enjoy our titties.
I mean,
man.
I do enjoy my titties. They're
They're
great.
titties.
I mean,
Everyone enjoys titties.
everyone.
I don't think anyone will disagree with us
No.
on that.
from babies to old people.
But that was a really fun day, and I will forever remember that.
And that phrase pops up in my head whenever I'm trying to like dig myself out of some sort of slump. I'm like, you just need to enjoy your titties.
Just enjoy them. It's fine.
It's fine.
Everything will be fine. What were you gonna ask me earlier about the stores?
So the metaphysical stores,
Yes.
right? So like, what are they selling in there besides good vibes?
That's it, bro. Like
no,
there's
because you walk out
no-
there spending physical money with a handful of rocks.
we went to the crystal store today.
I know.
Do you know how much I spent?
I pretended
you
not to hear.
Trevor, I'm sorry.
It wasn't that bad.
No, just
everything
kidding.
was on sale. So
It was.
We're good.
No, I got some things for myself
Right.
to bring back with me to the RV, and I also got some things for a friend who's going through a hard time, who's really into that stuff. So I picked out things that like I was like drawn to, and that kind of like reminded me of her. I felt that would be significant to her. So we'll see.
you're like opening yourself up in that moment, and you're
Yeah.
like, what do I feel drawn to give to this person? So you're
Yes.
going on a little journey while you're giving
Yeah.
these gifts,
Yeah.
anyways.
Yes.
What?
Like the necklace that I got you today.
I love that.
Like
thing.
I saw it and I was like, I had a thought in my head. I was like, I wish Jessica wasn't with me so I could buy that for her. And I was like, screw it. I was like, I'm just gonna get it for her anyways. And then when you made like it caught my eye and I was like, Jessica would love that.
And then ooh,
when
shiny,
you
right
when you saw it,
afterwards.
I was like, okay. So then like when you turned your back, I was like, snag.
That was such a cute pendant. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't feel like any of those stores are selling you anything in there. I've never felt weird in a store like that.
I kind of do. And I think it's because I'm walking in with a predetermination or a lack of notion or here we go. The reason why I'm uncomfortable is because I'm uneducated. Like
Okay,
I don't really
that's fair.
I don't
At least you're
understand
honest.
like what those stores are for or who really are they for.
Right.
I mean, and I get it, they're for everyone. I mean, any store's for everyone.
Obviously.
But it's more of like you don't, you know. I wouldn't find my grandma in that store.
No.
No.
My grandma would not be in that store either. Actually, a lot of my mom's side of the family would probably think that I was like doing demonic
things. Are you carrying rocks in your bra?
Yeah,
man?
they'd probably think I was doing demonic things. Because they're very
That's very fair.
They're very Bible religious.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I love them dearly. They don't ever force it down me in that way.
Right.
They would just quietly judge me probably.
That's
if
fair.
I was
That's
like,
fair.
if I went to their house and I was like, look at these amazing crystals I got today. They'd be like, oh, what are those for? And if I started talking about it, they'd be like, and I think they would have maybe that same reaction because they are also uneducated.
Right.
Like
right.
it's not obviously a demonic thing at all.
No.
And for me,
I mean, people hear the word spirit and they go weird.
I know, they're like, what? Ghost? Spirit? I'm like,
Evil?
no,
The
like
devil?
I am a spirit. You are a spirit.
like everything kind of has like a spirit if it's a living.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything has an energy of some sort. Like any living organism has something in them. There's life there, obviously, right? But yeah, I never felt weird in those stores. I've always felt like very comfortable, very drawn to them. If I don't know something like about a crystal, you can just, you can ask. And then most of those times, I mean, usually they always have.
I'm just scared.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. I was very like nervous in the beginning, like apprehensive, and you just kind of become more comfortable with it. But a lot of the times they'll have like little cards or whatever that tells you what each crystal is, or like the rocks or the gems or whatever's there, like what they are for or to help support you in. So it's just like a different way of spiritual, religious connection. If that makes sense.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for me, I grew up in like a non-denominational church. I grew up Christian. I believe in God. I believe in a hierarchy, another, there's something that's controlling all of us.
There's a larger
sometimes
power.
I feel like we're in like a Sim City almost, like honestly.
Fair.
It's great. Kind of an interesting perspective.
That's not good.
But yeah, for me, it's always like, I've always kind of like been on the line of like, yes, I'm religious, but I'm also like, I'm more spiritual, if that makes sense. Like I feel more connected on a spiritual level to things other than like versus reading the Bible. Like reading the Bible to me or like studying verses or stuff like that is not how I connect spiritually.
Right.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was always told to read the Bible and I don't like doing what I'm told. So that was a hard pass for me.
You're like, hell no.
I'll
just go to hell.
First off, we talked about my dyslexia earlier and that works for words too.
Yeah.
It's not just numbers. So reading for me was already not an adventure I was willing to go on.
Right.
And then they're like, well, you're going to learn some things in this book. And I'm like, dude, the only stories that I like are the ones that involve like death and murder and like bad things and like people drowning and like, dude. So like I'm supposed to learn these like quality lessons in life.
What traumas do you have? I'm just kidding.
Morbid curiosity. So it's like I always kind of questioned why are you making me read this book? I mean, because my parents did a very good job about raising us in a very Christian-like manner. Mm-hmm. I mean, we went to church on Sunday. My parents are God-fearing people, which is great, and I love and I appreciate that with them. And I haven't set foot inside of a church since God, I stopped going to church as a teenager. Really,
boy.
there's no like. I haven't been in. When's the last time you've been to church?
Let me think for a
Because
second.
you go for services and stuff like Easter and Christmas and things.
We went to church 2 years ago for the candlelight service, which is my favorite thing ever.
What is a candlelight service?
The candlelight service is on Christmas Eve,
Okay.
or however the days work out.
Right.
But they call it, the candlelight service. Christmas Eve, you go and, they talk whatever their sermon is about. It's usually, related to Jesus being born, of course, and the story
it's
of
kind
Christmas,
of like the whole Christmas bit.
obviously.
Yeah.
But
Some dude being born in a barn with
you
like,
light the candles and they dim all the lights and everyone's holding these candles and it's supposed to symbolize Jesus's rebirth, so to speak. I guess is my interpretation of it.
I'm not laughing at you.
Since I was a kid, like I said, I grew up in church every Sunday, youth group. I went to vacation Bible school over the summer.
VBS.
Oh my gosh, all the things. Until I was like 13, and then my parents split, and then that stopped. But what was I gonna say? What did you ask me?
What is a candlelight service?
Oh yeah, we would go. That was our thing. That was our thing.
Yeah.
We would go to the movies on Christmas Eve, and then we would go to the candlelight service for church.
Aw.
And so it's a very nostalgic thing for me. And both my parents have passed, and I've gone to the candlelight service on and off in my adult life since then, because it reminds me of them. But sometimes I can't go because
That's fair. It's either you're
I'm
too busy or just emotionally taxed.
I'm too emotional.
Yeah.
Every time I go, I just break down.
Right.
But it's in a good way.
Fair. That's very fair.
And so sometimes I'm I just need to go. I just need to feel that, from them. And so I don't know. It's just
I mean, so circling back to the whole reason why we got into the church bit.
Yeah,
it's
why?
the spiritual. Well, because of the
how
spiritual
did we
store.
talk? Oh, yeah. The spirits have taken
The
over.
spiritual store. Because I also remember going in with my mom to some of the Christian bookstores.
Right.
And tinkering around in
Yes,
there.
I've gone in there and all the Christian gifts. There's a specific store and it only sells Christian gifts and books and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what they're called.
Me either.
I don't know if
it's
they
a
still
chain.
exist.
I don't know.
They probably do
Probably.
in the South.
Probably.
But I mean, again, I don't know. But that it was such a crazy place because I go in there and I don't feel welcome or accepted.
Have you ever? So you went to church. You went to a non-denominational type church as well.
Yep.
Have you ever gone to another type of church, like a Catholic or a Baptist or anything like that?
So I think we kind of floated in between the Baptist and evangelical line. So I have kind of played in dabbled. My family's kind of dabbled in a little different varieties of Christianity, which is great. I love the exploration. But I've gone to Catholic, unfortunately, funerals, and I can see the difference of the dance, the stand up, sit down, spit on your shoes, turn around, say amen 4 times, and then leave. I mean, I'm not trying to slight the Catholic culture, but I feel bad for you guys because you were just constantly up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
I know. Why I don't understand that.
I don't either, and I feel so ignorant because I have
too.
no idea.
I do too.
But it's why?
I don't know. When I lived in New York for a little bit, I experienced going to a Catholic church out there with my ex. His family was very Catholic, and so that was something that they participated in. I was open to it. I was I'll check it out. I've never been. It was so different. It's so different than a Christian non-denominational church. It's very structured. You are up, down, up, down, up, down. For me though, and I felt bad, but at the same time I didn't. I felt bad because I felt like people were judging me. But internally I didn't feel bad. Because to me, being in a Catholic church, and this may sound bad, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I never felt
welcome,
connected or welcome in a Catholic church. I never felt like I was walking into a place of love or safety or whatever, right? That people may feel when we go to church out here in Colorado, for the, those special occasions or whatever.
Right.
It's a very homey, it's a very lively environment.
Right.
And
Right.
you walk in to a Catholic church and it is very quiet. It is very structured. I've shot a couple Catholic weddings.
Ooh.
And those are really interesting to photograph because there are certain rules that I have to
As a
abide by
photographer.
as a photographer to respect the church and the pastor that's performing the ceremony.
Really?
Like you can't go past the
A certain
altar.
point. Mhm.
And it's up to that pastor. Like each one has their own requirements. Like some pastors will not allow the photographer to move around the room during the ceremony.
Huh.
Do you know how hard that is to shoot?
Right. There's
Like,
got to be
that's insane.
6 of you.
Yeah, and also something that I felt was strange and different, which is whatever, every cultural and religion is different, but it was hard for me to adapt to because I didn't grow up that way, was taking communion.
Ah.
So in my church
the snack
growing up,
Jesus part.
yes, the cracker and the grape juice. In my church growing up, we took communion once a month.
Dang.
How many times did you take it?
I think it was once a month.
Okay, in Catholic they do it every
It's
week,
every week?
every Sunday.
Shit.
And I felt so strong. I never took communion in a Catholic church because I never felt connected
Right.
to any spirit. I never felt anything there. I felt wrong.
It just wasn't your flavor of Jesus.
It wasn't, and that's okay. And I felt wrong taking communion if I didn't feel it. Like that may seem weird, but I just didn't feel it.
Well, I mean, I can see what you're saying because, in the times when we were kind of going through the church and as I was growing up and my dad was teaching me these lessons, it was more a matter of, you're not really supposed to take communion unless you've been, blessed or unless you've
Right.
unless you're a part of this church, this community, this faction.
It
I
was
don't know what
always
they're
kind
called.
of presented to us as you do this when this happens,
Right.
or when you're feeling
Right.
this.
So if you're just like an outlander in someone else's church, I mean, you are still a child of God.
yeah,
I mean, it's like I said, it's just not your flavor of Jesus.
it was not. And I've been to a Catholic wedding before, out of a church, and it
Mhm.
was the longest wedding I've ever been to, the ceremony. And
Dude.
I mean, that's great for them. I applaud you guys. It's a very structured religion, and it's just not my flavor.
Not mine either. I mean,
No.
Now
I'll stick to my
I've
metaphysical stores.
visited metaphysical stores with you, and that's about as close as I get to spirits. Speaking of spirits, do you believe in ghosts?
Oh yeah,
Really?
100%.
No way.
Yes,
Really?
I do. I've had crazy experiences.
Have
dude.
you?
Yes. That's the only reason why I believe.
Because it's happened to you.
Yes. I've seen things and experienced things that don't make sense.
So when you hear stories of things not making sense, you're like, I believe that.
Yes. If I hear other people sharing a ghost type story or a spirit story or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
an encounter of some sort, I'm like, yeah.
That's feasible.
90% will believe their story
Huh.
most of the time. Because I'm I too, I'm open to that.
Right.
I'm open
right.
to the spirit world. I'm open, I've never.
Well, I mean, and I think I'm not trying to bash you here, but believing in rocks and stuff kind of makes you
Hey,
a little more open.
we're
to
allowed
those
to
sort
have
of
different
things.
opinions,
I get that, and that's what makes this beautiful.
I know.
I unfortunately am a very physical person. If I can't take it apart and put it back together, it doesn't exist. Right?
That is your brain.
I have not had. I've been open, but I have not had an experience to where something ethereal has messed with my reality.
Have you ever stayed at a haunted hotel?
No, ma'am.
Would you ever?
Would I put myself in that situation? Why? Why would I put myself in that situation? For why? Why would I go smarting around in someone else's bad juju?
To see if there is an experience that you could have that would maybe enlighten you or give you something
Enlighten
of
me?
there is more out there. There's more beyond what we're seeing right here in front of us.
So I can believe that there's more that we're not seeing beyond us without having to experience it.
Fair enough. Period. Period.
Like, I mean, if I see a weird bundle of sticks
you believe
in
in
the woods,
ghosts?
I'm not gonna go pick it up.
Do you believe in ghosts and like things of being haunted or like demonic? Do you believe that people can get like possessed and like exorcisms and all that?
I have
Do you
never,
believe in all of
I've
that?
never seen it to be able to put a lot of my own stock behind it.
Right.
Not saying that it's not possible. I've just not witnessed it, so I'm a little leery to it.
Right.
Like,
With the like demonic possession and, people having to perform exorcisms, which is interesting that that's also very Catholic. Like Catholic priests are typically the ones that would perform an exorcism. I don't know if
Right.
you knew that.
and I mean, and people like to make money too, so they create jobs.
Obviously.
So
like
they just
back then,
so they just make
in
stuff
the
up
day,
and say, "Hey,
I mean,
you're possessed," and the church is gonna fix that for you.
was that mental? That was like mental illness back then,
Yes.
probably.
Yes.
Like then they didn't know like what it was. So
Right.
I don't necessarily believe
The
in
devil's got
that.
little Timmy.
I don't really believe in all of that. I do believe in ghosts and spirits, and I do believe that spirits can, come and go as they choose from this life to the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple like medium like readings done before. Like I had one done after my dad passed. I want to get another one done by this lady that Maria, Peyton's mom, was telling me about. She's really, really good, and she was telling me all about her reading, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Your face right now. Oh my God.
I'm just curious. I'm sorry. I'll fix my eyebrows.
That's so funny. It's interesting. Like it's so interesting, and it's very I don't know, it's fascinating to me. I've always kind of been like drawn to that stuff like since I was a kid. I don't know why. I've always been drawn to like psychics, to I used to read a ton of Sylvia Browne books. I was obsessed with her.
That's fair.
She passed away, and I was so upset when she died because I really wanted to get a reading done by her. Like it was like a goal of mine. It was like a bucket list item to get a reading done by her because I just like thought it would be the coolest thing.
I used to fall asleep to her books because I loved her raspy voice.
I do love her raspy voice. She gives me like Stevie Nicks vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like seeing her on a talk show so long ago, and I remember her saying that she has had like 75 lives or something like that. And it's crazy to think that someone could have like
multiple lives.
a soul could have that many lives. But like I said,
what about like reduce, recycle, reuse? Like
Like-
isn't that a part?
there's so much like I could talk about on this subject. It's crazy, dude. I could go any different direction. Which road do you want to go down?
Right? You're like, how? How am I
Which
gonna
road?
go
Which
this
road
way?
do you want to go down? We can talk
Right? Like
ghost stories.
like okay. So what
Soul
has happened
plans.
what has happened to you that has made you a believer?
Okay. The very first incident that happened was in middle school.
Dang, you're
Yes.
young.
My friends and I, this was our fault.
Mm-hmm.
We, for whatever reason, we were in like 7th grade. It was actually with the girl Brittany that I chopped my hair off with.
Oh,
So it was with her.
those photos are classic.
Oh my God. We went to the same middle school, whatever. For whatever reason, we got really into witchcraft and like looking up spells and
Okay,
stuff like
because
that.
that was like the Blair Witch time.
It was,
of
yes.
the year.
7th
You know what I'm
grade,
saying? Yeah.
Middle 90s,
Yeah.
Yes, Jessica and I are 90s babies. We're old, we know.
1900s.
And it was, gosh, this was such a crazy night. I can't believe I remember this like so well still. It was
This
me,
is your
her.
first encounter.
Yeah, and it was not a good encounter. It was me, her, and her sister.
Mhm.
We were in her apartment. Her mom and her mom's boyfriend were going out that night. It was just so we were there. We were old enough to stay home. We were just there chilling, playing Monopoly, whatever. We decided to bust out some of the spells that we had. And we had like candles and like the whole thing. We like made a circle, had candles, started like chanting the spells. I have other stories too, like around the same time
so
frame.
you go fucking with this shit, like
Yeah. We were like, let's see what we can strum up. Let's figure it out. Of course, we have no idea what we're doing.
Right.
No clue
Jeez.
at all, like what we could even be
Just
opening
messing with
the realm, right?
Right.
You don't know. Like, now I know. Now that I'm educated, I'm like, damn, what the hell was I doing back
I
then?
could have died.
Yeah. Or like sometimes you can open into bad energy realms.
Right.
And you don't want those
Right.
energies to attach to you.
It's like a bad acid trip.
It is. And you
Mm.
don't want to go down that road. So anyways, we're doing the spells, whatever. A little while like goes by and the phone rings and Brittany answers it, and this is back in the day, so we have landlines, right, in multiple rooms. Brittany answers it, and it's her mom, and she's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And you could hear like all the loud music in the background. Like, they're at a bar, like live music, whatever. And we're like, we're just hanging out, just chilling, like watching movies, playing Monopoly, whatever. And she's like, I just have a really weird feeling. Just wanted to make sure you girls were okay. And we're like, yeah, everything's fine.
Stuff.
And so we hang up the phone. And then we go back to doing whatever. I don't remember exactly what. And then a little while later, the phone rings again. We answer it, and there's like still like all the background music, but like there's no one talking. And so we're like, hello, hello. And like each one of us got on like one of the phones, because, you know, like landlines you could pick up and hear.
Right.
Like multiple, like I could hear you, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's the mom's boyfriend on the phone, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, why do you guys keep calling? Like, we're just hanging out. Like, we're not doing anything, you know? And he's like, we just keep getting these weird feelings. Just want to make sure you girls are okay. Make sure the doors are locked. And we're like, okay, like whatever.
Right.
And we're middle school. We're not even.
You're like, screw the parents.
We're like, whatever. We're not thinking
right.
about anything with this spells or anything, right? Then a little while later, the phone rings again. I'll speed the story up because it's kind of a long story. But phone rings multiple times. This time, though, it's an old lady that like is on the other end of the phone, and she's talking like really quietly. But at the same time, there's like, you can still hear like the background noise of like the bar of where they're at, but it is not their voice at all. Like, and not like it was like in their pocket of like a butt dial.
Because it's a landline. You can't butt dial
Correct.
a landline.
Exactly. And they were calling like from the bar. Like, they didn't have a cell phone back then, you know, so they were calling from the bar. And it was this old lady, and she was telling us that we need to stop what we're doing because we're going to get ourselves in trouble, and we don't know what we're doing. And that what we're accessing is not good. It's evil, basically. I just got chills, dude. I just got goosies right up.
Thank you.
Little goosies.
See, this is why you don't mess with
So
stuff.
then the phone rings multiple times, and it's the same lady telling us the same thing.
To stop it off.
Yes.
Or knock it off.
Yes. Then we start hearing like weird knocks at the door. We start getting really freaked out at this point.
So did you go back to like doing your little spell duties?
No.
Or did you like knock it off and start watching movies?
We knocked off the spells after that, and we started to get like really freaked out. And there was this girl that lived in the apartment complex. I cannot remember her name, but she was like the gothic witchy chick at school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we need to go. Like, we need to go talk to her because she needs to come help us figure out what the fuck we
middle
did.
School minds.
Yes. And so we went and found her in the apartment complex, and we told her what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And she came over. What is creepy, though, is as we were walking back to Brittany's apartment through the complex, it was nighttime, and there was not only a black cat that walked across our path going into Brittany's apartment, but also like a flock of freaking crow birds, like blackbirds. I don't know
Could
if they were
your
crows.
signs be any more ominous?
I know. That's why I'm telling you, like, this is a very intense like moment where I was like, okay, there is things out there.
You're messing with stuff.
Yeah. And as she was getting closer to the apartment, she was like, wow. She's like, what did you guys do? And we're like, we don't know. Like, we're like, we just, like, these are the spells. We just printed these spells off the internet, like off the freaking big ass Mac computer in a fucking,
you had to like rip
in
off the
computer
dots
class
on
at
the
school.
side?
Yes, that we printed out. We probably would have gotten in trouble printing that out,
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
on school anyways. But yeah, so she was like, she felt the energy immediately and was like, you guys opened up something really bad. And so what she did was she did like another type of like seance, like to clear the air, and like did it with us. And it was like this little chant. And then she gave us these rocks. Rocks, Jessica. She gave us rocks, okay?
Special rocks.
They were the black shiny ones. I am drawing a blank on the
Is
name.
it onyx?
No, it's the I think it begins with a T.
Oh,
Turamarite or something like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
I'm horrible with the names, but it was like for protection, basically.
Yeah.
And she said, keep these with you tonight,
Tourmaline.
and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And after she did that, and after she left, everything was fine.
Jeez.
It was crazy, dude. It was intense. So that was like a bad one. I've like messed with like the Ouija board and stuff, and like I've had the Ouija board go like flying off the bed, like and hit shit on the wall. I've had things come flying off the wall, like when messing with the Ouija boards and stuff like that before at like sleepovers and stuff when you're a kid,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. Have you ever done light as a feather, stiff as a board?
Yes.
Did that ever work for you?
No.
It worked for us one time.
Ugh.
One time. It tripped me out, bro.
That's crazy.
We literally had this girl up in the air like this, like above our heads, dude. We were probably like 10, 11 years old. I swear to God. I swear to God.
That's wild.
Swear
That
to
is
like
so wild,
hand
dude.
on both my parents. Swear. Because as soon as we were lifting her up, I remember there was a lot of us there. It was like a big, like, it was like a birthday party thing, right? We're all there. I remember we were in the closet. We're lifting her up with 2 freaking fingers, all of us surrounding her. We lifted her up above our heads. And we, as soon as we all realized, because I was holding her like this,
Right.
I'm looking at the girl also holding her across from me.
Like in astonishment.
And as soon as we realized what was going on, the weight came back and we like caught her. No joke.
Jeez.
No joke.
I think the witchy the witchiest it's ever gotten for me is my friends and I back in high school. This was the Blair Witch times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I had sorry, Mom and Dad, stolen the camcorder. You know, one of the VCR camcorders, because it was really, really, really into videotaping ourselves at this point in time.
We used to do that shit all the time
Oh,
too.
it was
My
great.
God.
So
Why did we do that? Early times. Look
yeah,
where
we're
at.
just early influencers. We didn't
Look where
know.
we are.
We just did not know. So my girlfriend was having a birthday party. Of
Yes.
course, this is where all that fuckery happens.
Sleepovers, man.
Right, dude.
It's where all the experiences come from.
Your kids probably shouldn't go to sleepovers. I mean, because you did it, I did it, you did it. It's just, it is what it is. So we watched the Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all juiced.
Oh yeah.
Already woo woo for the woo woo.
You guys are hyped up.
Ready for it. So we're like, oh my gosh, let's recreate it. So we go out. My best friend Amy at the time lived in a tiny town kind of outside of Grand Junction, and her family lived on like 40 acres of property that just went on
dang.
forever. So I mean, it's desert, so
Right.
it's not like you're getting lost in the forest. You're getting lost in the desert. So we're out there doing our Blair Witchy best with this video camera, and there's one friend, Ricky's got the flashlight and he's running away and he's acting really well, and we're all kind of scared because it's dark and he's got the flashlight. So we're all following him.
Oh, God.
While someone else has got the camera. I trip and fall.
Oh shit.
And land in this huge patch of cactus, and I kind of roll. So I've got cactus all down my back. It's all over my ass. Like I have
Oh God.
like my whole left side.
The problems of growing up
It's
in the
just
desert,
covered
guys.
in like prickles from like 7 different cactus plants.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
not just one variety. And I was like, I've got cactus in my ass. And then this is like the only clip of this video anybody ever saved.
Do you still have it?
No.
No, we gotta find it somewhere.
Amy, if you're out there, reach out. But like it was the most like, because we were all already kind of scared, kind of like
Right?
cheesed out by the Blair Witch movie, and we're like, I mean, because we kind of got ourselves hyped up, and you know, my friends
And you're
kind of
out
had,
and it's dark.
yeah, and we've
you
kind
know,
of like had too much sugar,
past like
and it was great. Yeah,
the
we all
sleeping stage where
Yeah.
you guys slap happy, we
Yeah,
used to call
yeah.
it.
we all came inside and proceeded to remove all of the cactus prickles from my.
Did you get in trouble?
With who?
Well, like, were your parents like, what the hell happened? Where, like, did you, for all the cactus pricklies?
Well, this might be the first time that they've heard this story. I'm not quite sure
Ooh.
because no, we sat inside and my friends and her mom and family helped me pull
everything.
all the cactus prickles out of my ass and shoulder. It was a painful. I mean, dude, I was not smart. I was covered.
That's so funny.
It was so bad.
I grew up in Arizona, also a desert. Never had that happen. Did not ever fall in a cactus. I actually never even got. I take that back. The jumping cactus got me once in the leg.
Those things are vicious,
Dude.
It's so wild because you're like, wait,
One time, those little assholes. That's so funny.
Yeah, I tucked and rolled into that one. It was
dude.
full send.
So did you guys continue filming after that, or did you stop? your
No.
Blair Witch
After
excursion?
Jessica went all the way down, we
They're
kind of
like, okay, cut.
yeah, we hit the stop record button, and I think we even like videotaped me. Like it hurt a lot, and I remember like grabbing this apple, all like, oh, this hurts so much, and it was a painful experience, but it was not something I will ever forget.
That's so funny. Did you have any other like experiences? Did you guys ever do like the Ouija board stuff?
No.
At sleepovers or anything like that? No.
I'm a firm believer in like you just kind of leave that stuff alone.
Yeah. I don't mess with those anymore. That was like obviously like a back in the day.
You're the one
thing.
getting old crazy ladies to call you from the bar to tell you to
I know.
knock it off.
Dude, I will never forget that. That was so insane. But you're very empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I am also very empathetic, but I'm also very like susceptible to like energies. I've stayed at a few haunted hotels.
That's ridiculous.
And
why would you do that? I mean,
because
would you go to a hotel to get a good night's sleep? And
No.
you're like, I want to be tormented by ghosts all night long.
I do actually.
She's like, that's the point.
That is the point.
That's so bizarre.
I've had a lot of weird experiences. I've had like evil-ish
Evil-ish.
experiences.
What kind of energy are you attracting?
Energies. I've had like my dad plays Alexa. He makes the Alexa play all the time here.
Get fucked.
Gracie tells me all the time. And it'll be like random, like his music type stuff.
Random
I've heard
Bruce
it.
Springsteen.
I've heard it a few times. Like
Love
it'll
that.
happen while we're here sometimes. And I'm like, oh, hi, Dad. The day of his funeral, we had those galaxy lights in our room.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor went upstairs to grab something right before we were leaving. And I went up to follow him for something because he was taking a long time. And I walked in. And when I walked in, the galaxy lights were on. And he was just standing in the room. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I came up here to get the key or whatever. He's like, and then the fucking galaxy lights just turned on. And I was like, what? And my dad loved those lights, dude.
That's crazy.
He wanted them for his room. When we had him on, he would come in our room all the time. But yeah, so like I've seen like a little bit of like, little cute little things here and there, but I have yet to experience or see like an actual ghost or spirit, so to speak. I've witnessed and experienced other things, but I've read tons of stories and other things that people have experienced at the hotels that I've stayed at.
Mm-hmm.
And I stay there wanting to experience those things.
That's
like
crazy.
And I think that it doesn't happen to me because I want it so bad.
Right. I've heard that. I've
Yeah.
heard that. Like you go there.
I expect it. I'm expecting something to happen too much. However, the energies there that I feel are intense, dude. Like it's something that I cannot explain. Trevor and I, I'm going to tell this story real quick and then we'll wrap up. Okay.
Got it.
We did a ghost hunt one time with this guy. This was during Subaru time. Trevor had a friend when Trevor had his radio show. He had.
I remember.
Do you remember this? This was at the Lumber Baron Mansion in Denver, and it's. I think it's a bed and breakfast now.
It is. It is.
Or it still was then. I don't remember. But one of Trevor's buddies was a ghost hunter, and he was doing a ghost hunting night there one night, and he invited Trevor and I to go, and we were like, oh hell yeah. So of course we went. Nothing crazy happened. However, the energy in there was very intense. So the story for that haunting for that place is, I don't remember the exact time. I want to say it was like early 1920s or before that. So it's definitely old. The basic story is that 2 young girls got murdered in one of these bedrooms. And the house had been used for, I'm going to look it up and I'll share this with you guys. So it's actually really interesting. I can't remember it right now. The house was used for some sort of like housing back then for like younger girls or something like that. It was like a hostel of some sort, possibly. I'll look it up though and share. But they were murdered in this bedroom, and we had the chance to go in that bedroom. I sat in that room by myself with the lights off, complete darkness, and every hair on my body was just standing up, and the energy that I could feel in there, I don't know how to explain it. I don't. It is just like my heart is like racing, and I'm just like, I want to say like anxiety, but not anxiety feeling.
Right.
Like, I don't know. You can just sense that something else is there, like really heavy. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. Like it's humidity, but not humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just so that type of stuff I'm very sensitive to, and that's like the furthest I would say I've experienced on that type of stuff.
Ooh.
But I want to experience more. I'm totally open to it. We should stay at a haunted hotel one time.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know, you wouldn't
Why?
you wouldn't want to stay
What?
just for the experience, like just to see, to talk about it for content. For content.
Well, if you're gonna throw the for content on it, then yeah, sure, absolutely, I'll do
Of course.
this. But like willingly, without provocation, no.
She would not. She would literally only do it because I asked her. I
Why?
begged
Like,
her to.
I mean, see, like, here's the thing. You're like, it's not gonna happen to me because I want it so bad. You know who it's gonna happen to?
To you.
My goofy ass.
Yeah, and
You
I'll be
know
there
why?
filming
because
you.
I don't want it to.
I'll be there filming you. I'll be there catching it on camera.
It's not. Oh. On that
It's so
note,
funny.
I want out.
On that note, thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed our show. I don't even know what we talked about today,
we
honestly.
talked about so much fun stuff. Tipping culture, crystals,
woo-woo
spirits.
stuff, ghosts, witchy stuff.
That's great.
Like, oh man, we went all over the place. Anyways, hope you guys liked it. We will catch you on the next one. I'm Kristen.
I'm Jessica.
We'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Girl, did you hear?
Nah, girl, what?